What's up everybody and welcome to a new video. My name is Rick from Simple Self-Help, giving you one video a week to make your life a bit better, a bit more meaningful. And today I want to talk to you about forgiveness. I want to talk to you about forgiveness because I think it's a very important topic. I want to talk to you about forgiveness because I think it's very important to have the right balance between being productive on the one hand and forgiving yourself for not always being so productive on the other hand. It's like the expectation you have of yourself, the high expectation, and on the other hand, you being okay with it, not always living up to that expectation. And that's forgiveness. I'm talking about forgiveness to ourselves today. What you can do to forgive yourself a bit more, to live more at ease with you not living up to your expectations. So I think that's very important because I think I'm not the only one when I say that sometimes when I am chilling, when I'm just not doing anything productive, that there is this voice in my mind coming up telling me like, bro, you gotta do something. You gotta be productive. You gotta do some schoolwork, you gotta do some job for your work for your job, you gotta do some self-improvement stuff. Get your ass off the couch and start doing something productive. You know, it's this strict, harsh voice that is telling you that you always have to do something. You gotta keep doing something. And I'm very happy that I have that voice inside of me because it does make me, it does drive me to do many stuff, you know, many things it makes me face fears, it makes me want to achieve stuff, it makes me excited to do things, it motivates me, you know, so that's all good stuff. But when you already had a day of being very productive, and at the end of the day you're laying on the couch, that voice is not really helpful, you know, because you actually want to relax, but the voice is telling you that you're not allowed to relax, that you gotta do something. Or maybe it also happens sometimes that you just wake up and you just feel like this is not going to be my day. I feel low in energy, didn't sleep well, weather sucks, you know, stuff like that. That you're just not really in the mood of always being productive. And when that voice is telling you then to be productive, to be efficient, to be fast, to be this and that, then it actually is giving you a heavy feeling. It's giving you a bad feeling. And that's I think that's something we can actually deal with in a nice way by forgiving ourselves. And the moment I realized that I do feel heavy sometimes because of that voice telling me that I should be doing something, because of that voice judging me doing nothing, you know, the moment I realized that that gives me a heavy feeling, I started to think about where does that come from, you know? And I started to think about books I've read and videos I've watched and people I talked with, and then I got to this idea, and I think this is a great idea I somewhere read or watched, and it says this: we as humans were someday we were a child, right? We were all children, and when we were children, when we were in primary school, let's say. When we were doing good stuff, for example, when we were in primary school and we were having a mathematics test, for example, and you did a great job, you had a high score and you were very fast, you know, then you would get a very positive feedback, attention, let's say. So the teacher would be like, wow, that's amazing, it's incredible, it's very good stuff, I'm proud of you, or keep going, you know. So that's a very positive reaction. And when you didn't score so high, you know, when you didn't do so great, I think it was more often that the teacher or people around you or your parents would more be like, all right, that's not bad, or that's okay. I mean, this is wrong and this is wrong, but yeah, keep doing what you're doing. But it wasn't that positive, right? It was more like, yeah, it was not that positive as when you do it very, very, very good. So I think as a child, the idea says that as a child you actually sense that there is a different reaction when you do something good, when you do it the right way, the way it's expected from you, compared to when you're not doing that, when you're disappointing them, when you're not doing the right thing, when you're doing it wrong, let's say. So right and wrong. And since we learned that as children, since we learned that when we were very young, we kind of internalized it. You know, it just became part of it got kind of programmed in us that we gotta do the right thing in order to feel good about ourselves, you know? We gotta do the right thing to get the validation, to get the positive reaction, you know? By the way, I'm not blaming my teachers or my parents for doing that. I think it's a very normal thing, and I think I also do it. When people do something that I would like them to do, then I think automatically I'm responding way more positive, you know, than when people are doing something that I don't like them to do. Then I'm being less positive. So I think it's a very natural way that people interact with each other that way, you know. So I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just saying that this could be the cause for that voice in our head telling us to be so productive and to do it always right and to be the best and to be effective, you know. I think that could be a cause of it. So it's kind of programmed in us that when we do the right thing, we will get positive feedback. And that's, I think, also what that strict voice is telling us. Like, do the right thing, then you get positive results, you know? Do the right thing, then people will like you. Do the right thing, then people will love you, you know? Then people will give you positive attention. And so actually maybe the stronger the voice is in your head, the more you have this urge to do it, the more you're actually craving for this positive attention, you know? Which is all perfectly fine, by the way, but even though the voice is actually very strict, it actually wants something very good for you. So it may actually seem like that voice is being harsh to you, you know, and actually putting you down, but basically it just wants some positive attention, it wants some love, you know? So it's actually on your side, but that's just a side note. So now we're here, grown up, you know, living with that voice. And how do we handle it, right? How do we find a way to handle it in a good way? And I think there's 2 steps we can take to actually get to a point that we can live with it in a good way, in a more light way, you know, less heavy, more light. So I think there's 2 steps. And the first step is getting aware of it when it happens. And I want to give you an example of my life when I notice that it happens to me. So I study psychology, and in my university we have this silent study room. It's like the name already says it. It is this room where everyone has to be quiet. All the students have to be quiet in order that everyone can study their thing, you know. But it does happen that sometimes not everybody is quiet, and that people are actually talking, and that could disturb the focus of other people. And before I go into that room sometimes, when I'm not having a good day, when I'm not feeling so confident, you know, I sense this heavy feeling. I feel like I don't want to go into that room, but I gotta study, but I don't want to go into that room. And I think that heavy feeling could come from the fact that I have an expectation of myself that a strong, confident man always can be assertive. A strong, confident man can always stand up for himself when someone is disrespecting his values. And let's say my value is that, in this case, is that people are all quiet there, you know, because then you have respect for each other, that everyone can study. So my high expectation is, when people are talking in that room, I have to stand up for myself and I have to tell them that they can't speak so loud here and that they have to be quiet. But when I'm a bit insecure on a certain day, when I'm not really feeling it, you know, then I can't always find the motivation to do that, you know. And when I'm about to go into that room, it does make me feel heavy because I know that I maybe cannot live up to that expectation. So that's the first step. I'm getting aware of the feeling. I'm getting aware of that I have a high expectation of myself and that is judging me, and I feel like I cannot live up to that expectation. So I'm getting aware of that I have this feeling. Getting aware. Second step, where we actually bring in the forgiveness, is the following. So let's say I'm standing in front of that room and I feel heavy. And what I can do now is actually just talk to myself, doing some self-talk, saying like, Rick, I know you want to be a confident man, I know you want to be great, I know you want to be perfect, but I'm okay with you today if you're not standing up for yourself. So then I'm basically lowering my expectation. I'm basically saying, Rick, I still love you, I still give you that positive attention, I still give you this positive feedback, even though you're not living up to that high expectation. So I'm basically, it definitely it already makes me feel more light now, because I'm basically saying like, Rick, it's okay whoever you are as a person, let's say. It's not up to what you're doing that makes me love you. I love you anyway. Whatever you're doing, you're fine. You're okay. And by lowering, I think forgiveness and self-love is very connected, by the way. Just saying. But by actually lowering that standard, like, Rick, you don't have to stand up for yourself today. I'm giving myself already more a light feeling, which is great, because I can't always live up to those expectations. So like that, I'm basically forgiving myself a bit. And I'm not saying that this is easy. Well, it does. Some days it works better than other days. But I do believe, and also do already sense, I already feel that the more I do this stuff, the more I try to forgive myself, the more this light and spacious feeling tends to come up in me. Like, oh, it's okay, you know, I don't always have to be perfect. Also, maybe good to realize is that, so this behavior got programmed in us when there was teachers around us and fathers and mothers, you know, of whom we were dependent, you know. But now you're a grown-up human being. So now you are the one that gives you positive or negative feedback. So if I would be going into that silent room and I wouldn't be standing up for myself, that there would be no one to give me any reaction but myself. If I would be going into that room, into that silent room, and I would stand up for myself, there is no teacher or no parents that are gonna tell me like, yeah, Rick, that's a great job. You did very well. There is no one. It's just in our head that it's just in our head that it is important to live up to that expectation, because it's programmed in us. But in reality right now, it's just you judging yourself. It's kind of that you kind of can form your own expectations of yourself. And I think that's great stuff. And now back to my example. If I would go into that silent room and people would start talking and I wouldn't come up for myself, I would be more likely to be like, hey, it's okay, because I gave myself permission not to stand up for myself today. So it's fine. I'm not gonna feel this pressure or this stress that I have to do it, you know, that I have to live up to the expectation. No, I gave myself the permission to let them talk, and eventually they will also stop talking. And if they don't stop talking, then I find another place. Today, that's fine for me. And another day, again, I will be practicing to stand up for myself again, you know. That's what I was also meaning with the balance, you know. Sometimes you gotta be productive or facing fears and stuff like that. You know, pushing yourself a bit. And sometimes you can forgive yourself. Today is a day that I forgive myself. And maybe tomorrow is gonna be a day that I am going to be assertive, that I am gonna stand up for myself. So maintaining this balance, I think, is very important. And today I gave you the 2 steps that you can take, that you can do to focus a bit more on the forgiveness part of the balance, you know. So that was my experience, and I'm actually very curious to your experiences. Are you aware sometimes of when you are having a high expectations of yourself, and when is it then? For example, is it maybe before you're going to cook some food for yourself or for your family? I don't know, that you have this high expectation of yourself that it has to be a great dish, that everyone has to like it, you know? Or Could it be that sometimes you have a high expectation of yourself when you're going on a date with a nice guy or a nice girl, that you have this expectation that you have to be the best version of yourself in order to make him like you, you know, something like that. I'm curious to your story, so if you want to share it to me, let me know in the comments. Also, if you didn't understand everything what I said in this video, also feel free to comment and ask. And yeah, that was the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this video and that it was useful for you. If it was, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. That was the video for today, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.